Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks, we're back with you. Real excited. We've got this next young man coming on. Y'all seen him in The Munsters, River's Edge, Matlock, The Fugitive, U.S. Marshals. The list just keeps going on and on and on. Daniel Roebuck, good morning. How are you, brother?
Good morning, Stephen. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Well, now, you're one of the few, man. You're one of the few. Most people's like, oh, man, I don't want to do this with you. But anyway, we're glad you're here.
And hey, Daniel, this is the other Stephen. There's two Stephens hosting the show today.
Oh, thank you.
And may I be the first to wish you happy birthday.
Oh, you know, that's so nice.
Happy birthday, sir. You know, I was going to tell tell Steve here that, you know, we pull up the Google list of famous people's birthdays every day and kind of hit a few highlights. This is the first time in my memory that somebody on that list of like 20 people that Google shows is literally on our show on their birthday.
There you go.
Your photo is on that list of famous folks today online around the world as far as, famous birthdays. So happy birthday.
Isn't that funny? Thank you so much. You know, a thing popped up on Instagram today that said, today in Star Wars history, I was born. Who could have dreamed, you know, we're all about the same age, that when we were kids, that I would be like, I remember waiting in line to go see Star Wars, and then today in Star Wars history, I'm part of the history.
That's awesome.
I'm not bragging. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, aren't you a voice on like one of the Star Wars video games?
Yeah,
I thought you were. Yeah,
it's an interesting thing in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Right.
We don't just voice it; we perform it. It's performance capture. So, although I'm a 4-foot tall guy with 4 arms, we act every scene out. It's really quite extraordinary.
That is awesome, and of course, you've been on the other side too. I know you were a Romulan in Star Trek.
Yes, that's right. So
That's
I've been
fantastic.
in Star Wars and Star Trek. I've also, in my lifetime, met Mr. Spock and Dr. Spock. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That is pretty cool.
I was on a TV show with both of them.
Wow. You've had a great career, man, and I love it. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you happy birthday. My mama actually baked you a pound cake, but I eat it on the way over here. So,
you know, I'm trying. We've been editing the Hail Mary, which is the third movie that'll be coming out in the next year or so, right. And I directed it, wrote it, and I say made it, and now I think I ate it. I keep choosing shots based on, geez, Louise, I look so fat. So I pick another take.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm all about this. I think fat is the more you eat, that it squishes your wrinkles out, so you don't have to get Botox, and it's so much better for you.
I think, unfortunately, Steve, it also compresses your internal organs. That's the bad part.
Well,
the external part is good.
You know,
the internal part, very bad.
You have to take the good with the bad, but I guarantee you.
Yes, sir.
But that's, like you were in The Fugitive. That was shot just over the hill up here in North Carolina. And that, how long has that been?
That's 27 years, I think, or 28 years.
Yeah.
Or 26 years. 1995 it came out. We shot it in 90 or 94. It's so long ago, but it came out. Yeah, it came out in 90. Wow.
Well, you were in the follow-up, too. You were in U.S. Marshals,
too.
Yeah, we were in both of them.
Yeah.
I love that. We stayed up in, we stayed around Dillsboro.
Dillsboro, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the train is, right?
That's right.
It's still there.
Yeah, you know what? If I get down there to see that train, can I come be on your show live?
Oh, Lord, absolutely. Yes, come on. Yeah.
I keep thinking that's a trip I want to take.
Yeah.
To get down that way again. What a great memory that was. And we hit it in a real cold spell.
Yeah.
If you watch The Fugitive, you'll see that it snowed in Cherokee, which was not normal at that time. It snowed in the middle of our shooting down there. Mm-hmm. So some of the shots have snow and some don't, and that's just
the way it is.
That's just Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy to see the town Murphy in the movie when you guys are driving through the canyon or the mountain passes real fast in that chase. They go by the little sign that says Murphy, like this way, and of course that's just a little community north of us here where my family's from. So that was exciting for all of us.
We had you guys. I can't explain what that was like to be on that movie with those actors. To be, we're down in that dam was in Tennessee, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while. I've been in a lot of dams.
That's fun. I thought that was Fontana. Was that not Fontana?
Could be Fontana. I'm sorry that I don't remember.
Yeah,
but you talk about. I mean, you have been honestly. I mean, you're looking at Matlock and all the movies that you've been involved with, and I mean, these are all big hits, blockbuster hits, and now you a lot of people that I didn't know that you're actually a producer and a filmmaker, and you have got a brand new film that the folks can actually go check out right here in Union County at the Blairsville Cinema. Tell us about that.
Well, thank you for asking. So, Getting Grace is a film that I made a couple of years ago, and we are re-releasing it. It's been a constant source of joy and adulation. It's a blessing when you make something that people really connect with, and the good people, the Lingerfelds at the Blairsville Cinema. I met them a few weeks ago, and they were among the first theaters to say we wanted to be part of this re-release. Now, you guys, can I just? It's a movie that is about death and dying. And can I tell you what it's about for a second?
Absolutely, yeah.
I say it's about death and dying, but it's also a joyful comedy about living life to the fullest. So it's about a teenage girl who goes into a funeral home to find out what's going to happen after she dies, and she ends up teaching the funeral director how to celebrate life. So it is a life-affirming comedy set in the world of death and dying. It's got a 96% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I know people go to that.
Right.
People can look up, if they're curious about the faith content, they can go to the Dove Award website. We do have a Dove Award. And it's a movie for everybody. Kids love it. Adults love it. Older people love it.
Right.
Because it does not, we don't pull punches, and there's no big surprises. And anybody who's lived through a hospice situation, meaning a loved one who's lived through a hospice situation, I'm told every time it shows that it's one of the few movies that captures that experience in a realistic manner.
But that's something. I mean, you're talking about that. Well, the last 2 years with the COVID and all the other stuff that's going on, they've been a lot of people in dire straits when it comes to death and that kind of stuff. And we've actually had a good friend of ours just pass away recently, just the other day. And yeah, that. So, but yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And COVID threw such a wrench in the hospice experience because it dequalified a lot of the point of hospice is letting people die on their own terms. All those rules and regulations were so ridiculous. Like, somebody's already on their way. Why shouldn't they be with their family? I'm going to tell you,
I've got in my will on hospice. If I go on hospice, I don't want some sweet little lady over there that's pampering me and taking. I want some mean old gal that's just hateful and mean and rude, to where I'll be there like, Lord, please God, take me now, take me now. I don't want to say no, don't take me yet. Let me stay a few more minutes. I'll be like, get me out of here.
It's funny, you make a movie like this and you hear all the stories. Like,
right.
You're a magnet for people's experiences.
Right.
I think that's a great thing. And look, the truth is, I just set out to make a unique and quirky comedy. Through God's help, and I really do believe I've been blessed and purposely chosen to tell these stories by a higher power.
Right.
And I believe that this film, you could watch 100 documentaries about this thing, about death, but this film has had, well, it's ironically about death, but it won't die.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it. Like, people just love it. And the first time it came out, our release wasn't what we hoped it would be, and we believe that we're given another opportunity. And we make movies if people are interested. This movie was not made that way, but since then, the next two movies we created a not-for-profit called A Channel of Peace, and they could go to achannelofpeace.org and see how we're making faith-based family entertainment. I think it's anti-Hollywood. They look like Hollywood movies. They sound like Hollywood movies. They feature a face like mine that you've seen in many Hollywood movies, but they don't pander, nor do they dictate social engineering
I'm with you 100% on that. And I need to say again, y'all go to danielroebuck.com. You can see all the stuff going on. We're talking to him, and he has got a brand new movie coming out that's going to be over here at Union County. Y'all can check out. And that's the thing that I appreciate, because a lot of shows that you're watching on TV is full of that. And, you know, trying to, I don't know, it's like, why is it there? I don't understand why you could be in the middle of a gunfight and you have to have a love scene. I mean, you know, that kind of stuff just blows my mind.
I don't know. Have you ever been married? I think my father always said the reason he didn't have a gun is because he was afraid in the middle of a love scene he'd have a gunfight.
But
hey, can I
go ahead?
May I, and I just, because I don't know how much time you're letting me talk to the good people there.
Right.
Can I tell them this about the movie?
Yes.
It's opening March 11th in Blairsville, and because A Channel of Peace is a not-for-profit, and because A Channel of Peace is putting the movie out, we've committed to donating part of the proceeds of the box office directly back into this community. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that makes our film releases different, is I'm asking people to join us, to tell their friends, to come see the movie at 1 or 2 times. And I tell you, you will want to see it again. But know that part of the money goes back right into your community for you know, we'll find a charity aligned to what we're talking about. Right. Grief counseling, death and dying, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's fantastic. You know, Kirk Cameron, he really, I think, was a major push in Hollywood actors like yourself going into this faith-based film industry. And I think it surprises Hollywood just how relevant they are to their consumer, which they don't always understand. You know, the world's always going to need faith-based films and has a strong interest in it. So it's important that you use your talents to get out there and to be able to be a witness in that manner. I think it's great. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Now, you know, the difference, and the difference isn't bad. I think it's good. So, you know, Kirk's movies, and he's a heck of a guy, and these movies that are made only for Christians, mm-hmm. I find I've been in them. I was in Let There Be Light. I've been in a lot of them, a few of them, not a lot. Right. But my interest is more in preaching not to the choir, but to everyone driving by the church on Sunday morning. Right. Now, look, you guys are obviously people of faith, and I'm blessed in my life because of my relationship with God and you know, my acceptance as Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. Amen. So I don't need to hit that drum. The drum I need is I'm going to make something completely entertaining. Right. And then you come to the entertaining movie and you're like, what separates this from other movies? Oh, yes, these characters are on a journey of faith. Yeah.
That makes great sense. Hey, let's talk about something before we have to wrap up with this segment with you. There's something important I think the audience would love to hear. And it oddly enough, it kind of relates to faith and relates to this style of filming. You used to be on the show Matlock, of course, with Andy Griffith. And Andy and you, I remember because you played the kind of the junior partner, I think it was in that law firm.
The last 3 years.
Yeah, you sure did. I remember that. And you know, he is a person, especially down south, where everybody still respects and looks at somebody as a great moral figure as far as his character and how he presented his show. And basically, those types of things aren't being made anymore. But regardless, I know that Andy Griffith was a mentor of yours. I believe that would be correct in saying that.
100%.
Tell us about that relationship. Tell us about Andy Griffith and you and how he has guided you in your Hollywood experience.
Well, I was a guest star on the show in the first season, the last episode of the first season. And I had just done No Time for Sergeants and played Will Stockdale, which was the part that he originated. So once I got over my stammering and he learned that I had just played Will Stockdale, I think he took a shine and an interest to me. Then in the course of the first scene and the only scene we had in that episode, I surprised him and did an actor in a rehearsal. He did it one way and then he changed it in the performance that we were filming. And I didn't go back to the rehearsal. I moved forward into the performance, and that required me like pulling his trousers out, if I remember. And he said, "I've got a pain," and in the rehearsal he pointed to his belly, and in the shooting he pointed below his belt line, and I was playing a doctor. So I pulled the belt back and I shoved my hand where he pointed, away from his drawer, and he got to do his little acting comedy thing. And from that point on, I think we were. He realized that I was a guy he could trust when the camera was rolling. So when he finally became a producer, he asked for me and Bryn Thayer to join the cast, which I did happily, and we shot all those in Wilmington, North Carolina. And so when we would get to work, sometimes there wasn't enough time to rehearse. Sometimes you had busy days, and we would rehearse a little, and then Andy would say, they'd say, "Are you ready?" And he'd say, "Well, let's just go where Jesus leads us."
Right.
And I've always I've definitely stuck with that theory.
Right.
To just go where Jesus leads us.
I'm with you.
He trusted me with comedy, which I thought was extraordinary. He'd hand me a script and he'd say, "Danny, make this funny." And we'd come up with shtick to do in the course of the scene. Because a show like Matlock is expositional. You got to say, I talked to Bob Jones. Bob Jones wasn't there that night, but his wife was there. So you got to get. So isn't it funnier if we're eating hot dogs or I'm picking onions out of my food because I hate it? What are you doing, Cliff? Oh, I hate onions.
Right.
So he, everybody should rest assured he was not Andy of Mayberry, but he certainly wasn't Lonesome Rhodes either. If you saw a face in the crowd. Andy Griffith was an intelligent, complex, brilliant actor. He was a good person through and through, and those 3 years are absolutely the best years of my life.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, man. I really respect you, and the reason I say that, with all that's going on in Hollywood, that you stand your ground with Jesus Christ, because there's a lot of folks out there in the business, and we have some on the show that won't give their testimony of faith because they're worried about their career in Hollywood and where they stand. And honestly, and that to me means a lot to the people that, like you say, that don't go to church and have never been to church and don't even believe in Jesus, that they can see this through you and your movies. I think that's fantastic, man. I really do. I mean, hats off to you, and we'll support you any way we can. Yep.
Thank you. I'm more concerned about my time in heaven than I am with my time in Hollywood.
Well, that's the thing. I read the Bible. Jesus wins in the end, man. I don't care what they say.
Exactly.
Yeah, you knew the Titanic was going to sink if you saw the Titanic, and in your life, Jesus is going to win.
Yeah.
So you might as well just, go with the flow. I put a line in the new movie, Lucky Louie, which will be the next one we bring out and hopefully bring to you guys.
Right.
And in Lucky Louie, a character says, "Wow, that's a coincidence." And the main character, speaking for the main character, I say he doesn't believe in coincidences. He calls that a POG, a proof of God.
There you go. There you go. I guarantee.
And all of this is a proof of God. This conversation we're having this morning with the two Steves on my birthday is a proof of God. We've got this movie, and this movie needs to be seen, and people will love it. And I just hope that they will fill the Blairsville Theater for us, Blairsville Cinema, excuse me.
Yeah.
And pay back this faith that Donald and Linda put in the movie and in me to make something really special happen there in your area.
Hey, they're good people, man. They're good people, I guarantee. Let me, you're a movie producer and all that kind of stuff, and he actually is an actor. I'm not, but I'd like to apply if I could. Check this out. You can't handle the truth. Am I hired? How about nip it? Is that better?
Nip it in the butt,
Well, anyway.
We have so many phrases, by the way, that we use to this day from the Andy Griffith Show.
Right.
We always call that other person who shows up the Horner-inner.
Yeah.
The Horner-inner. That's one of our favorites. And you know that you're talking to a legit American if he knows what a Horner-inner is.
Yeah, I'm guaranteed. She likes Elvis. She likes Andy. Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. But anyway, I know you probably ain't going to hire me, but I can throw this last thing in.
I thought it was very good.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
I work cheap. There you go.
Now you've really got my interest.
That's it. Well, one thing, Daniel, I want to say before we have to end this segment is that, in my job, I'm also an airline pilot, and I run across quite a few famous people in my, flights. And it's often I thought to myself, well, what do I say to them? If they're standing in front of me, maybe I can't remember their name or I don't know what to say. And what I came up with is, thank you for your years of entertainment and for providing some laughs and fun along the way. Appreciate what you've done. And I wanted to be able to say that to you because if people are watching this YouTube thing today, they're going to recognize you. I've seen you for, the better part of 30 years on TV and movies. I know exactly who you are. And thank you for all that great entertainment along the way. It's been fun to watch you and it's been a joy. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you both for your service to us. I know both of you have other jobs. Steve, your job is important as the other Steve's job. Both those jobs, without them, we couldn't get anywhere and we'd be up to our eyes in stink. You will know, Steve, airline pilot, if I'm on your flight, because every single flight I go on, and I'm flying today, I take 2 bags of candy for the crew. And if I fly 3 times a day, that's 6 bags of candy I carry with me.
Well, hey, I appreciate that. I just finished eating my last box of Red Hots that a passenger gave me here a week ago. We always appreciate that.
Red Hots are made in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Where I made Getting Grace, which is playing March 11th at the Blairsville Cinema.
There you go.
God makes everything come
there
around.
you go. I'm going to tell you this one thing before we go. If you're on one of his flights, you'll know it because they'll be, hey, Steve's flying today. Do not remove your seatbelt.
Is this Turbulence or is this Steve?
He's got a lot of people to Jesus in his flights, I guarantee it, because they go to praying pretty quick. But anyway. All right, Daniel, we got to go, man. Go to DanielRoebuck.com.
God bless you both.
And I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.